Hey everyone, how are you? So this is now the last part of the Angular e-commerce series that I started on a few weeks ago. And in this part, we are going to finish up the front end by adding the product reviews section, which is an essential part of any e-commerce application. And we're going to add our star rating component, which we're going to use in different places. So if I just show you there, we have your details page. And for every product below that, we have a customer reviews section here, which is a nice summary of all of your reviews. And then you have your list of reviews, just like you would have in your typical e-commerce page. Also, we have this star rating reviews section, which is sort of a reusable component so that we can use it. Also, you can see on this card, on the wish list card, so it's there everywhere. So we want to make it reusable. All right, so this is all that we have to do in this section. Let's get started. And of course, if you want to get the final code for this e-commerce application, you can find the link in the description. You are going to be taken to my website where I have this link specially for the Angular e-commerce on my shop. And also recently, I have added purchasing power parity to my platform here using parity deals, which provide a nice little facility for that. So if you are from Pakistan, from India, or from any other countries which have low purchasing power, you can use the code that you will find here when you use your own normal IP address. You can use this code here to actually apply this discount when you buy this in your buy now section here. So you can apply the discount here and you're going to get this discount here so that it will be easier for you to buy if you are interested in this. Okay, so just a little bit, and thank you for all of your support till now. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to first start with adding the star rating component, reusable component. As you'll see, it's missing here in the card here, and also on the detail page we would like a star rating component here. So let's create a reusable component for that purpose, and I'm going to go back to the code, and I'm going to have a new terminal here, nggc, and in your reusable components, I'm going to create a star rating component here. All right, let's go in the star rating component, and it's going to take an input here as a rating. It's going to be input, and I'm going to make it required, and it's going to be a number. Okay, and then we want to create a star array computed here, okay, based on this rating. So we want to create an array which is actually a 5-member array, which will be true or false based on whether that star should be filled with yellow color or with the gray color. All right, so how do we create that? Well, we can first import that from Angular core here, and then we can do constant full stars, and we are going to do maths.floor and this dot rating. Okay, so we're going to round it up, and then after that we are going to just return an array 5 in fact dot fill, and I'm going to make it false initially, but I'm going to then map it to something like this. So it's going to be map, and if the index is less than full stars here, then it's going to be true, otherwise it's going to be false. Okay, so this is going to give back a star array here, which we can then use in our template. Great. Okay, so let's create a template now. So I'm just going to copy paste some template here like this, give a div here of flex item center, okay, to make it in flex row. And then within that, we are going to have two sections. So one section is going to be our stars, and the other section, we have a text besides the star. Okay, and this text I wanted to be configurable because in different places in the app, this will be a different content. Sometimes we show the number of reviews, sometimes we show the total aggregated rating. So I just style this according to text SM and text gray so that we have a similar look and feel, but the ng content is going to get from outside using content projection. All right, great. So what about this? In this case, we're going to have just an array of your stars arranged like that. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to use mat icon, and so we're going to add mat icon here like this, and this mat icon is going to be a star, and then I'm going to loop through the star array. I'm going to use track index here like this, and then I'm going to use the conditional class binding here. So if, for example, this star is true, this means that it's going to have text yellow 400, and otherwise it's going to have text gray 300. Okay, so we have this simple star rating component created here like this. And now we're going to go to your product grid first of all, in fact product card, and I'm just going to add this star rating in the appropriate place that we would like to add this. Add rating component somewhere here. So I'm just going to copy paste this here. I'm going to import this from the star rating that we already have, and then we use the rating, and we're going to pass in the product dot rating for this product, and in the content projection I'm going to send product.review count here like this. And now you can see we have our nice star rating component with the number of reviews that we have here. All right, we can use the same thing on the wishlist card here as well. It's the same thing because we're using a reusable card here. And we can also do the same thing in the details page here. So let's go in the details, and I'm going to do detail, view product detail here. And in the product info, at the very top here, I'm going to add right after the title, I want to add our star rating here. So I'm going to do this. In fact, let me just copy paste this here because it's going to be faster. Okay, so here we have your star rating. Let's import this. And then the rating that we have is the product.rating. And but there's a difference because in the details we have the product.rating, and then in your bracket we have your number of reviews here, something like this. So let's save this, and now you can see that we have this nice little star rating section here with the reviews given here. Let's go to some other component, some other product, and you can see that we have the reviews for that product here. Great. So this looks nice. Our star rating is complete. Okay, so next let's start with the massive user reviews section, which is really important. The first thing we need to do in that case is to create the model for that to store our user reviews. Okay, so we're going to go in your models here, and I'm going to create a new model file here called user review.ts, and in this file we are going to have the type here, something like this. Okay, so we have your ID of your user review, the product ID for this, the username, user image URL, the rating, the title, and the comment and the review date. So these are all the data that we need for this for now. Now we want to add your dummy data. So where is this dummy data gonna be? So it's going to be in your product. So for every product, you will have your reviews and your user review here like this, a list of reviews. Now we will change the structure later when we have the backend, but currently this will suit us fine. So we're just gonna save this. And now in your e-commerce store, you have your error here because our data does not have these reviews. So what we're going to do is I have some dummy data. You can also generate the same dummy data using AI if you'd like to. I already have that dummy data. So I'm just going to copy paste that in here. Okay, so once I copy paste this here, all the errors go away here. I'm also going to remove these is favorite things here because these are not there anymore. So I'm just going to use AI for this purpose. So I'm just going to remove this using this. Remove is favorite property from all items in these. Okay, so it's passing through this and it's removing the is favorite wherever it has this. Okay, so it's removed. I'm going to accept this, and now I don't have any errors. We have all of our data with the reviews for each of the products. All right. Okay, so once we have this data, we would like to use this data and show it on the UI. So let's go to your product detail, view product detail here like this, and below this app product info, we would like to have your user reviews section here. All right, so we're going to create a new component here, ngc, and we're going to put this in my view product detail because it's part of that page. So I'm going to do ngc pages view product detail, and then within that we are going to put in view review. All right, and then below that I'm going to just do app view reviews. Okay, so this is going to be here. I'm just going to import this, and then this I want to send in the product itself so that we can actually just show the reviews for this product. All right, so let's go in your app view reviews here, and let's add an input here, product input.required. It would be the type of product, and then within that we're going to build up our here like this. So the first thing would be to make this a app view panel here like this, because we want to have the same layout as we have for the others. Then we'll have a div here at the top, we'll have a div here at the bottom here as well, and we're going to contain our heading here. So our heading will be customer reviews here like this. Okay, and then below that we are going to have your whole section here, and the first big section here would be the rating summary section here. Okay, which is going to show the summary of the different stars and also the overall summary. So I'm going to create a new component here, again ngc, and pages view product detail view reviews, and within that I'm going to do rating summary. And in fact I'm just going to do it in product detail here like this, rating summary. Okay, and it's going to be rating summary here like this. Okay, and this is also going to take in the product here as well. So let's go in your rating summary and build up upon this rating summary. Now let's add the product here as an input. just like we do there. Okay, so this rating summaries is then going to need some computers that we'd like to show. So first of all, we want to show the total reviews here. So we're going to do computed this dot product reviews dot length. This is going to give us the total reviews which you want to show. And then we have your rating breakdown, all right? So this is going to show us the rating breakdown that we want to show in our horizontal bars in that section. So if I show you that again, just for reference here, you can see here that we have this section here. So we have your rating here and the total rating here, the star rating and everything. And then we have this breakdown of your rating. So we want to build this up. So we need basically an array which will have the count of each of these star ratings individually grouped so that we can show them here. So that is the rating breakdown. So in the rating breakdown, we will have your reviews here, this dot product dot reviews, and then we have the total. So we're going to have the total reviews, sorry, the total, and then we're going to return all of these. So if, for example, the total is 0, I'm just going to return. The total is 0, I'm just going to return not an empty array, but I'm going to return an array with 5, 3, 4, 2, 1. So representing each of the rating. And then I'm going to map it to each of them are going to be a star. And I'm going to map it to this object here, which I'm going to keep it as this. So the first would be the number of stars, then the count would be 0 if it's 0, and then we also have a percentage so that we can show that bar. So I'm going to make the percentage as 0 here. Okay, so this is just the null case here, so that we can show it when the total is 0. Otherwise we can then just go here and we can do the normal case, which would be counts, and this is going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 again. And I'm going to map it to the same thing, star, and I am going to use the reviews.filter function so that I can find out the reviews in that review which are corresponding to that. Okay, so I'm going to do review.rating. If it is equals to stars, then I'm going to give the length back here like this. So in fact, I don't want to exactly do this. These are the counts that I have. But in fact, what I want is I actually want to map it to an object here like this, okay? And before that, we will also like to do constant count here. And I'm going to just copy this whole thing here. So I'm going to get the count for these here. And then I'm going to return your stars, count, and percentage here like this. So I'm going to return stars. So we have our length here, and then we have return stars, and we have your count for this specific star here for each of the stars, and in the percentage we have count divided by the total, which is somewhere here, and then we multiply it by 100 to get that percentage value. Okay, all right, so we have these counts here, and now we're going to, at the end, we're just going to return these counts here like this. So these are going to be the rating breakdown here, and then now we can then use the rating breakdown to render it on the UI. All right, so in the template, I'm going to add the template here like this. So first of all, I'm going to have this whole section here arranged in a flex here like this. Okay, and then within that, the first section then is going to be the overall rating display. Okay, so let's just copy paste this here, and I'm going to show you how this looks like. So we have the overall rating here at the top here, styled nicely in a font bold and text 4XL. And then below that we have the star rating, which we have already created. So we're going to reuse this here again. And then we're going to have based on total reviews here like this at the bottom. Okay. After that, we're going to have our rating breakdown. So I'm just going to copy paste that as to make it quicker. So I'm just going to copy paste this here. And we have your rating breakdown here. We're going to use the same thing. For each of the breakdown, we are going to show the number of the stars that we have. We're going to have a nice star icon here. And then we have your conditional styling of width percentage of this div, which is your yellow div here. We're going to render it using the breakdown or percentage value that we are getting for each of the breakdown here, okay? And we'll have the count at the very end, change in a specific width here, aligned to the right here, okay? Great. I'm just gonna see how it's gonna look like. So I'm just gonna go back to the code here, and I'm gonna see in my app here, in my detail, and now you can see we have this nice looking customer reviews section here, left section here with the star rating, and then we have the bar chart sort of here with all of these stars for each of the reviews that we had here. Okay, let's go to some other product and let's go see this product, for example, and you're going to have something different here. And this is going to automatically change when we add any new review, so it's going to automatically calculate that. Okay, so this looks nice. Now we need to just add the detailed reviews at the bottom here, and then the facility to actually add a review. So we're going to go in our code again, and below the app rating summary, then we'll have a whole section here, which we'll have a div here arranged in a flex column. Okay, and then we are going to use the for loop here to loop through all of our reviews. So let's say for review of product.reviews, and we're going to track review.id because it is unique in that case, product.reviews here like this. And what we will have within that, we will have an item which we're going to call is that view review item. So we're going to create a new component here for that again, and we're going to put it in the pages, view product detail, and let's call this as view review item. Sorry, I missed out C here. Okay, and now we're going to do review app view review item here like this, and within that we are going to send in each of the reviews so that we can show that in our, let's import this, and we can send in the review here from the product.reviews here like this. Okay, so this looks good, and let's go in your view review item and let's add our template here like this. First we're going to do review, and we're going to have an input here, each of the review here, and then within that we are going to just again do something similar. So we're going to do div app view panel as before. See how helpful this app view panel has been, because it allows us to encapsulate that same behavior and apply it in different places. So all of this layout is pretty standard. So I'm just going to copy paste this here. So I'm going to copy paste this, something like this. And you can see that we have our image here using user image URL here on the left side. And then on the right side, we have this whole div in which we have your username. We have your app star rating, the same component that we were using before. So we are using it in multiple places. And then we have your date here as well. So for the date, we need to have your date pipe here as well. So I'm just going to do date pipe here. Okay. And we have this special format for the date here. And then we will have your title and your comment here formatted appropriately based on its own level. Let's see how that looks like. So we have this here, and you can now see your all of your individual reviews here, the data we already had, and it's now rendering great now. One thing though, that this needs to be sorted in the descending order. So I would like the latest reviews at the top. So I'm going to add a computed here as well. So I'm going to go in view reviews here, and I'm going to make this as sorted reviews, and I'm going to do this dot product reviews dot sort a b and b dot review date dot get time minus a dot review date. So this is going to make it descending order. One problem though is that we want to actually, the sort basically makes mutable changes. So what I want is, I want to just create an immutable copy of this, of the reviews, and then sort it so that we can show that. And then here, instead of product reviews, I'm going to do sorted reviews here. And let's see whether we have sorted it in descending order now. So you can now see that we have your March 20th, which is the latest one at the top, and January 15th at the bottom here like this. Similarly, for other products, you can go and you can see that we have your customer reviews here like this. Great. So this is your display for the review section. Now all we need to do left is to add a write review section here so that a user can add its own review. Okay, so now let's add the part where we would like to add a review. We want to have a button here called write a review, and when we click on it, there would be a div here that's gonna give you a form for your user review, and you can fill it in, and then when you submit that, it's going to add that review at the top here somewhere like this. Okay, so let's start building that. So I'm going to add a button here like this, and I'm going to do button matte button filled. Okay, I'm not going to add any click here for now, and I'm going to say write a review here like this. So this is going to be a button filled button. Let's save this and see how that looks like. Okay, you can see we have write a review here, but we need to include our matte button component. Okay, and now you see we have a write a review button here. Now once you click on this, you want to open this panel here, and let's first create this panel component. As this panel component is going to be write review section. Okay, so it is going to be a write review component, and let nggc pages view product detail, and let's say we write review. Okay, and then this is going to be shown at the bottom here, somewhere here. So, but for that, when do we actually show this write review? We only want to show it when we have toggled this write review button. So for that, we're going to add some state in our e-commerce store to actually manage that UI state. So what we're going to do is we are going to go in your e-commerce store, and I'm going to go in my e-commerce store, and in the last section here and selected product, I'm going to also write here write review. Okay, and this is going to be a boolean, and here at the end I'm going to do write review false. Okay, initially it's going to be false, and then below that I'm going to right at the very end where we have done everything, we are going to add show write review. So this is going to be really simple, and it's going to patch store write review true, and then we have hide write review, which is going to write review false here like this. Okay, great. And now we can just use this state to actually store things here. So we're going to show this if store.write review. Now we don't include it, we haven't included the store here yet. So we're going to do store inject e-commerce here, e-commerce store here, and then store.review here. And then within that, I can put in my new component that we added here. So we added write review here, something like this. Let's import this. Okay. I'm going to add also a class here of margin bottom 6 so that we have some space here at the bottom here. One more thing, we also want to only show the write a review button when we have a user log. So I want to do if store.user, only then we want to show this. Okay, so this is going to be the button here, and then when we click on this button, we are going to do store.show write review, and let's save this and see whether this works. So I'm just gonna go here and I'm going to test this out. So write a review, and you can see write review works here. So this section shows here. Okay, let's build up this section so that we can continue for the rest of the stuff. So we are going to do write review, and in write review we have a form that we have here. So first of all, we're going to start with the same thing, app view panel, just like we do for our other panels, so that we have a similar look and feel for everything. And then we have a heading here at the top, which you're going to say write a review, and then we'll have your form here. So I'm just going to copy paste the form here like this. Okay, so this form is basically with the form group of review form here. So we're going to create a review form here at the bottom, review form, and of course we also need the non-nullable form builder that we usually use and we have used in all of our other forms. Now, your signal forms have been released, but they are still experimental. So I'm going to probably update that in a later version of this e-commerce app. Okay, so for the review form, we're just going to copy paste this here. This is going to have just 3 fields. So we have title, comment, and the rating field here with an initial value of 5 here like this. And we also need the rating options here. So we're going to create a rating options signal here, taking in the option items. So the option items we don't have here. So we're going to add our option items here in our model. We're going to call this as option item.tk. So this is just going to be a simple type of label and value, but the value can be string, number, or boolean, any of the values that we have here. Let's import this here. And so we have 5 stars, excellent. Value would be the rating that we have. So that means send it to our backend and or to our store here to save that. All right. So we have our mat form fields here. Let's just also copy paste all of these imports here that we need for this. So we're going to add all missing imports here. And as it turns out, we also need mat select here. So for the mat select, we're going to import it like this. Similarly, mat option here like this as well. Okay. So AI really helps us out in these cases. Okay. So we have our form arranged in a grid here below in the form here. So you can see we have grid columns 1 here, and for LG we have grid columns 2. And then within that we have 3 fields, the review title and the rating. And then below that we have a column span 2, which is a big this so that it can be a text area. And it says tell others about your experience with this product. And the form control name is basically what binds the reactive form with this. All right. Great. And then below that we have your button, which is going to be used to submit that button here. Okay. And then we also have your store.loading here. So we need to inject our e-commerce store here. And if the store.loading is true, which that means we have clicked on it, we're going to have it submitting the label. Otherwise, we're going to have it submit review. And then the cancel, we will have it linked with the hide write review function that we created. And the disable, we'll have store.loading here. Okay. So let's save this and let's see how that looks like. And it says that it has some issues. So the ng submit needs to have a save review. Let's add this save review at the bottom here. And I'm going to add the functionality there in a bit. Let's just add it here to remove the error. So let's just see here how that looks like. Okay. So now you can see here we have write a review, and when we click on this, you can see we have this nice section where we have write a review here. We also probably need some host block here so that we have this nice space here at the bottom. So you can see here that now we should have this space here at the bottom. So the layout looks really nice, and you can see we have our fields here. Hello, and we can have our details here, and we can then submit review, and we can cancel it. Once you cancel it, it's going to hide it again. We can cancel it again. So this is a nice way. And then we just need to submit it. So let's first create a function in our e-commerce store where we can actually add this functionality. So let's go in our e-commerce store and let's add a function here. Let's call this add review. Okay, let's call this add review. And this we're going to make it as an async function because we would want to add some delays to it in order to show that a submit button and loading process. So what we're going to do is we're going to import this user review here, and in fact not the user review. So we actually want to have another type for this. So I'm going to create a new type and pick it off from these types. So I'm going to do export type add review params, and I'm going to just pick specific data from this. So I'm going to do from user review, I'm going to pick the title, the comment, and the rating. Title, comment, and the rating, because that's all we need for adding the new review. And then in the type here, I'm going to do add review params here like this. And of course, we can then give your parameters here. So I can give title, comment, rating here like this. And then within that, I'm going to add my functionality here. So let me add this functionality now quickly. So first of all, I'm going to do patch state, and I'm going to start up the loading. This we already have loading here. So I'm just going to do loading true here like this. And then I'm going to find the product, and I'm going to do store.products.find and store.selected product ID. Okay. Then when if the product is not there for some reason, I'm just going to return this. Okay, I'm just going to return, I'm just going to do loading false, and I'm going to return this. We don't need the toaster, I guess. So I'm just going to return this. Okay. And then we have a new review here. So we want to add a new review here. Let's copy paste this here. So I'm going to do user review here, and I'm going to generate a new crypto random UID, title, comment, rating, the product ID, and user image URL, and the review date as the current date. So this is just dummy data because we have all of our data on the front end. For a back end, we'll obviously just forward all of this data to the back end. Okay, and then I'm just gonna update the products with the reviews, with the final review after adding this new review. And I'm also going to add the review array to it, to the array and to the aggregated review there. So I'm just going to use the produce function of immer, and I'm going to get the products. I'm going to use the reviews. I'm going to push the review at the end, and then I'm going to update the rating. I'm going to get all of the reviews, and I'm going to update all of the ratings based on that, and then the review count here as well updated in that. Okay, and then we have the updated products here, and at the end I'm just going to add some await here so that I can. Okay, so we have some await here, and then after that I just do patch state and just do something like this. We don't need the review added successfully. If you'd like, you can add that, but I don't need that here. And we have loading false and products, updated products here like this. Okay, and of course, once we have added your review, we also want to hide the review. So I also want to do write review false here. Okay, so that is going to hide that panel because we have already added that. Okay, great. So let's save this, and we are going to bind this now with the write review submit button here. So we're going to do in my save review, I am also going to do the typical things that we do here. So for a form, we first check if the review form is valid. We do mark all as touched, and then after that we just send this to the store here like this. Okay, so we get the review form value, and we import it from add review params here like this, and title, comment, and rating just like that. Okay, so let's save this. The rest of the stuff is going to be handled by that. All right. So we have our product here, and you can see that we have write a review here. Now, if we log out, you see that it's going to hide it. So we don't want to do that. We're going to sign in again, and we're going to click write on review. Let's say we want to write a great product, and let's say we want to just give 3 stars to this. It was good, but not great. Okay. And now we can submit it, and you can see that our ratings changed here. It animated here and changed. And you can see we have a 3 rating here. Let's also write another review, and you can also see your review here. Great product. It was good, just with 3 stars. Great, and it's appearing at here at the top here. Let's go to another product here, or we can also add a product, another one here. Let's say poor product. I didn't like it. Okay, and let's make this poor here like this. Just submit this again, and now you can see we have poor product here like this, and we have a 2-star here as well. One here like this. Great, and our rating has dropped. So that is what happens. So this is your write review section, and so this marks the end of our front end series. Now you can see we still have some things remaining. So you can see we have the search bar remaining here as well. I'm just going to add this in a bonus section. You can also try it and do it yourself as well, but I'm going to show it in a bonus section. I have 2 bonus sections as well. So one bonus section is then going to be the SSR section, which I'm going to show how to convert this whole app to server-side rendering, because it's really important for an e-commerce application. Secondly, I also want to add bonus video for responsiveness, so we can make this into a responsive app so that it can be used on your mobile screen as well. So currently, if you can see, we do have this as responsive. So you can see this basically works fine. But we also want this category sidebar to, become a sort of a floating sidebar when we have small screens, so that we have more space for our grid here, and everything else works fine as before. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed all of this tutorial series, this long set of mega tutorial series, and you built up your skills and you learned something new or a lot new about building real apps with the latest Angular versions. So I'm going to see you in the next bonus parts. And just a heads up, I'm also working on the backend. So if you want to really enrich this into a proper backend with Firebase, I'm going to give you a link in one of the future videos in which you can get that whole sort of course, that mini course, in which we add all of the backend functionality, including Stripe. So watch out for that, and do let me in the comments if you are interested in getting that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in another video.